Hey, what's going on, guys? Andrew Fillion here. In this video today, I'm taking you through a full week of strict carnivore diet. To give you guys some background, I started my midwinter cut about 3 weeks ago. Prior to that, I was doing a bulk season. What does that mean? Well, it means you're eating calories at a surplus that there is no doubt that you're maximizing your body's recovery potential at the cost of putting on body fat. In fact, you're deliberately putting on body fat simply to meet your recovery requirements. Well, here I am. I peaked off at around 210 pounds, so I'm about 5 pounds down from my starting point. We're trying to get back down to that 180 to 185 range. We're changing things up this week. We're going 0 carbs, not even a little wiggle room here. Every morning I'm going to have eggs, and every night for dinner I'm going to have steak. It's just those two things, nothing else. So I'll take you guys in the dining room. We're going to do a physique update. I'll show you my starting weight. We'll do some rotations so that you can see the physique, and I've got some measuring tape so that we can see how much my waist measures. From there, throughout the week, I'm going to be giving you guys all the details, all the food, the diet, how I'm feeling, and what's working. When it comes to losing weight, I have a few key principles, and carnivore actually fits into these very nicely. Even though I don't necessarily do carnivore all the time, the big thing that I really like when cutting weight is to reduce my carbohydrate intake. You can't have any carbs on carnivore, so that works out perfectly. But the real beauty is that we're getting into ketosis. Now, whether you're doing any sort of cut, whether it's, calorie restriction or low carb or keto, carnivore, the common theme is that your body starts burning fat when it enters ketosis. Even in a cut that actually does have carbohydrates in it, because the carbohydrates are low or your calorie intake is low, you actually do slightly enter ketosis either multiple times through the day or especially while sleeping. And if you think of it like a speedometer, it's not like 0 to 100. You're hitting all the speeds along the way. But I want to get my ketosis levels as close to that 100 as I can. So we're going 0 carb. I've got a glucose monitor. We'll see how things look throughout the week. My goal is to try to get my blood glucose somewhere in between that 70 and 90 range. I'd be pretty happy with that. That means we'd be in deep ketosis, which is great for burning fat. So let's go get this starting physique going, and we will go from there. And now time for the physique update. Let's get these turns going. $35. No wonder my jeans aren't fitting right now. Normally I wear a 32 just for reference. We'll get back down there. It won't take too long, but my oh my, 3 inches added to the waist really makes a big difference when putting on jeans. So I can't wait to lose this weight. Bulking is fun, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really serious about bodybuilding. Most people, it's better just to get lean, not necessarily big. Let me roll this thing up and we're gonna keep on going. All right, look at this. This might be my easiest food challenge yet. Made me a nice rare steak in the Dutch oven. It's gonna take some time to eat. Very chewy. That's the way I like it though. I'm a big rare steak guy. Fantastic, look at that, man. All right, so all I did to prepare this, I have the Dutch oven. I filled it up with like maybe a half cup of pickle juice, and then I just dumped salt on top. Now really, more than just doing that for flavor, there's also some practical reasons to add salt to your meat, especially if you're doing carnivore. The big thing on that is maintaining your electrolytes. If you don't have carbs in your system, your kidneys are going to start kicking water pretty hard. And if you don't have sodium going in, it's only a matter of time before you piss out your electrolytes, and then you're gonna end up feeling really rough. That's why a lot of people call it the keto flu. What they don't really realize is not that going into ketosis messes you up, it's that you've peed out all your electrolytes and now you got the dizziness and the brain fog. That's not the keto flu, that's electrolyte imbalance. Whenever I'm on keto or trying to do like a carnivore or anything, I try to make sure I'm getting anywhere between 2 and 4 grams of salt per day. The more exercise I do, the more salt I'm gonna need. The more cardio-based activities I do, the more I'm gonna ratchet that up. I try to be intentional with this, especially when you're so low carb, or in this case, 0 carb. Electrolyte balance is really important. When you've got carbs, your blood sugar is going to kind of help regulate your sodium intake a little bit by default. So most people never really experience this unless they get on keto, do fasting, do carnivore, or even intermittent fasting. All of these things can happen. If you get that dizzy feeling, it's low sodium. By the way, it's also good to throw on potassium too, but sometimes meat and especially eggs already have a little bit of potassium built into it. The one thing you really can't get from meat and animal products is the sodium. That's why I tried to hammer that down so hard. Salt is not the enemy. So while I finish this steak, let me tell you guys some fun things. The reason steak makes you feel so good, it's very potent in a B vitamin not a lot of people know about. And it's B12 Cobalamin. That's the vitamin responsible for making new red blood cells. You can't get vitamin B12 in the natural world without having meat. I mean, you could take over-the-counter supplements, but nothing beats the real thing. That's why people feel so good when they do carnivore. You're getting the cobalamin, which you're not getting from fruits and vegetables. Another part of why carnivore works so well, and I gotta be honest with you guys, it's not so much that the carnivore is like insanely awesome and works super well. It's more to the fact that you're avoiding certain things that are unfortunate in our society, that a lot of the fruits and vegetables are either straight up poisoned or genetically modified enough to like really be messing with your diet. There's a reason why a lot of the pesticides used in America are banned in Europe. If you look at the obesity rates here in America versus the obesity rates in Europe, our diets aren't that much different from here to over there, so it all comes down to the ingredients. So the reason why I think, this is my opinion, the reason I think carnivore works so well, I'm sure the eating the meat part is great, but you're avoiding all of these poisoned fruits and vegetables. And we're not even getting into the super processed snacks and treats and sweets. Like even things as simple as a potato in America can have pesticides on it that are illegal in Europe. Just look at the McDonald's French fries, for example. The pesticides used in making a McDonald's potato, its core feature is to kill anything that touches it, because if something touches the potato, it gets a brown spot. You've never seen a McDonald's French fry with a brown mark on it, and that's because of this pesticide. It literally kills everything it touches. When they harvest these potatoes, they put them in a facility for them to air out, and there's no humans allowed in this area for weeks. Now they're telling us the pesticide has a short half-life, so after a couple weeks it dissipates. Okay, fair enough. People the world over eat McDonald's French fries, so we know it's not outright killing them, but I just don't like the idea that something I'm eating was, prior to me eating it, deadly poisonous. I just can't really vibe with that. So I don't mind vegetables. I do really like potatoes, but you got to be careful of the source they're coming from. I mean, nobody was obese in America until around the 1940s, 1950s. Now, like half the country or more is obese. And if you look at Europe, these more Western European countries are now becoming just as obese as America. And in some cases, I think the United Kingdom might even be surpassing it. It's not that the food we're eating is different from 100 years ago per se, but the way it's being grown, the pesticides being used on it, the genetic modification, I think that's the real culprit. Well guys, my steak's getting a little chilly here, so I'm gonna focus on eating this. Check in with you guys tomorrow. I think I'm gonna do a weigh-in. I've kicked a lot of water weight, so I'm expecting to be pretty light tomorrow. We'll see where I'm at, and I will see you guys soon. So it's Saturday. I got one more day left on this challenge. I want to show you guys what I've got here. So the steak is the same as it's been all week. You know, I love it rare, get it nice and juicy. But what I figured out was I can use the pan as like gravy. It makes this taste so good. Oh my goodness. It's so salty and full of flavor. I love it. So all in all, this challenge has been a lot easier than the egg challenge. But one thing I will say, the steak is a little bit more expensive than eggs. So sustainability wise, even though I could eat this every day, it's definitely gonna add up in price. 24 eggs a day for a week, you're looking at maybe like 30 to 40 bucks just in the eggs, which is totally manageable. Actually, that's a really good deal if you think about it. These steaks, on the other hand, steak every day, you're looking at like $90 to $110 a week, depending on how much steak you're eating. And for me, I'm having probably 1.5 pounds a day. I'm not sure if it's financially sustainable, depending on who you are. For some people, obviously, they can afford anything they want. If you're on a budget already, I'm gonna say the eggs is probably more sustainable than the steaks. The steaks are awesome. I could eat like this every day if money wasn't a factor. So I'm gonna finish this up. I've got one more day of steaks. I'm gonna do a glucose test after I finish this just to see where we're at. I'm expecting somewhere between 80 and 100. All right, not bad. We're at 95. That's right in the middle of what my goal is. So I think this will be fun. Tomorrow before I eat, we'll see where I read at. Then I'll have the steak, and then I'll check again 1 hour afterwards. So tomorrow being the last day, we'll wrap up. I'll do this one more time, and then we'll get on with the analysis. So just got back from the gym. Before I went and had anything to eat today, I took my blood glucose. I was down to 85 milligrams, which I'm very happy about. Now today at the gym, I had high volume squats. So after this workout, my appetite was pretty high, and I was like, well, you know what? I am at the end of the challenge. I did have a little bit of carbs to restore my energy afterwards. I took a glucose test afterwards just because out of curiosity, let's see what a little bit of carbs do. All the way up to the 150s. So that actually goes to show, you know, the carnivore diet really does work getting that blood sugar down. So I do think I'm going to continue on with the next week, do another bit of carnivore. But in any case, I'll head over to the desk here in a second and we're going to break down how the week went. Here we are at the video wrap up. So it's been a week. I've had nothing but eggs in the morning and steak at night. Overall, I really enjoyed it. The numbers on the scale didn't move as much as I was hoping they would, but I had a feeling that might happen because my sodium the whole week was very high. That's why I used the tape measure in the beginning. I started out at 35 inches. I ended the week at like 34 and a quarter, maybe a half. So I lost about a half inch off the waist, which is pretty nice. The scale has been oscillating between 204 and 206 all week, so I haven't seen any weight drop off in that regard. But because the waist measurements are smaller, I can see there is some forward momentum here. With that said, I'm pretty happy with how the glucose monitor turned out. I was able to get down to 85 this morning. Unfortunately, I did have some carbs after the gym. It was a very heavy, high volume leg day. Tons of squats. When I got out of there and I knew the challenge is kind of over anyways, I did go ahead and have a pretty carb heavy post-workout. So glucose levels are around 150 after that meal. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I've never actually done carnivore longer than 1 week at a time. So maybe that is something for me to try. And I know a lot of people say it's like sustainable, you know, you can go years without, you know, deviating from carnivore. And maybe that's true, but I do kind of like having that 1 day a week where I can kind of go willy-nilly and enjoy things. For me, that helps make it sustainable. Monday through Saturday, I'm not getting bored. If that Sunday, I can go out and kind of live a little, which I'm especially going to do today. I'm a Lions fan. I've never seen the Lions in the Final Four of the playoffs in my entire life. Today is game day. I kind of wanted to be able to enjoy it. So we're going to pick up tomorrow back on carnivore, but for today, I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself. One thing I have in mind, in this next week, I am going to a Brazilian steakhouse, which is all-you-can-eat steak buffet. I'm thinking, idea time, I might take you guys with me and document the whole thing. I'm going to see if I can do carnivore at one of these Brazilian steakhouses. I might even do 1 meal a day so that I can really indulge on it, which would mean I'd stay fasted all the way to dinner time. Regardless, I think my next video after that one, whether I do it or not, is I'm going to have carnivore using jerky. Part of the reason I wanted to do this is because when I was at work this week, I did notice that it can be a little cumbersome peeling hard-boiled eggs for like a half hour at a time, and bringing steak that's already been cooked to different places, it didn't really work that well because the juiciness of the steak kind of got everywhere. Jerky is just steak that's been dried out, so I think that's what we're going to do. Keep an eye out for that. It'll either be the next video or 2 videos, depending on if I take you guys to the steakhouse with me. With that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps, and if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. I know I'm a newer channel and it takes a lot of commitment to watch a video that might not get much exposure, so I greatly appreciate you. Happy to bring you along with me on this journey as we grow. As always, I'm going to try out different ways of losing weight. I'll show you guys what works, what doesn't, and give you my thoughts on that. For now, I've got to go to a Lions party. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.